All right, AJ, here we are. We've got another opt-in. We're recording on the books. We've got 5 minutes. Good synchronization there. I want to talk to you again about some of the other things and findings that you saw when you came across the Gartner report that, I'll get the title right this time, is called 4 Ways to Boost SDR Pipeline Generation.
Ding, 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 ding.
Nice. I know we did one or two of these already. So to continue with this little series here, you told me before this, one of the topics now is about data-driven call coaching and using AI and sort of all these new technologies and tools to help enable you as a manager to enable your reps. Talk to me a little bit about what's in there.
Yeah, good way to put it, enable managers to enable reps. The big finding that they pulled for this topic was that looking at SDR tenure on average for all surveyed respondents was like 15.5 months. I think that's probably pretty close to what it is in general. I've heard like anywhere from 14 to 18 months. So call it 16. We'll just say that right in the middle. 16-month tenure on average for an SDR, typically 3 months before you can realistically call them a fully ramped rep, able to produce like replicable results on a regular basis. That leaves 12 to 13 months of like actual full productivity for any SDR that you have on your team. And when you think about that as a manager, like how can I get the absolute most out of this individual for the 12 to 13 months that they're on my team? It puts a significant burden on them to effectively ramp and then continuously coach that SDR, knowing that there's so much pressure on them to be like, you got 12 months with this person, get as much out of them as you can. And so this idea of developing like an ongoing coaching motion to the people writing the report at Gartner can be significantly made more efficient when you add some level of AI or data-driven call coaching to the equation. The actual quote that they gave on the suggestion side of things is that, and this is a new statistic for me, SDRs require approximately 4 to 6 hours of one-to-one coaching per month for them to really be considered effective at their jobs. I don't know how they came to that number, but I guess benchmark-wise, 4 to 6 hours of one-to-one coaching, you're doing pretty well. So to provide SDR managers with the ability to do that, you can scale up their coaching efforts significantly in terms of what behaviors to coach through artificial intelligence. And so they provided some statistics in there too, like one of the companies they surveyed between 2018 and 2019 implemented some type of AI level coaching, boosted their booking rates for their SDRs from 11 to 50%, so 39% boost in overall success when they implemented AI coaching. I just rambled a ton about what this was. Alex, I want to get your thoughts on coaching, on using AI to help with that, and where sort of that intersection of like artificial intelligence and SDR coaching sits today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's interesting because the data-driven coaching has existed for a long time, right? In the sense that the metrics you gather, you can listen yourself to call recordings, you can, do some of the stuff manually. Where AI, I think, becomes really helpful is in that, right? Listening, and instead of taking anecdotal evidence from call recordings or role plays or call shadows, the AI is able to analyze all of their calls very quickly and then find the patterns and actually give you data that shows more concretely what's happening and where things need fixing. 4 to 6 hours a week is interesting because that's an hour.
One month.
Yeah, 4 to 6 hours a month is an hour to an hour and a half a week, which if you have a large team and you're the manager, it's true. Like that can be hard to do. I'm curious if it said like, if you're using AI coaching, does that reduce the amount of hours a rep needs, or is it more that they'll just become that much better in that same amount of time? Because one of the things about AI that I'm curious about is it helps us do things faster, but when it comes to learning and training, I don't know how speeding things up affects our ability to retain what we're learning in those sessions. I have no idea. I have no idea.
Yeah. I mean, from what I gathered while reading through it, I think those like those 4 to 6 hours become more effective because what you're focusing on is more targeted towards like getting to the root cause of some issues that the rep might be facing, rather than like, well, that number is now just reduced because I have the benefit of AI coaching. I think that the way that I kind of read through it is that you're right, like AI isn't it's supporting you in the sense that it's not like replacing what a human can do for you. It's giving that human, the manager, like you said earlier, the manager enabling the rep, like giving them more targeted stuff to focus on with the SDR to help shore up any weaknesses that they have and really like get to the root of, why aren't you booking enough meetings? Why aren't you making enough dials? Are you running into an objection that we see over and over again that you're struggling to like actually overcome? I think it's more just like you said, data-driven coaching is existing for a long, long time. And it's the AI's ability to take all of those data points and pull together insights that are tangible for a manager to look at and use in coaching sessions with SDRs. I think that's the big thing here. We've seen tons of tools come out over the past few years that kind of help with this, to analyze call recordings, really understand like what a rep is doing on a day-to-day basis, and then summarize it in some capacity for a manager. I just think it's only a matter of time before this becomes like, I guess, second nature for people, rather than like, I remember going back as a player coach and listening to call recordings with an SDR for an hour and just sitting down and listening to like 6 or 7 call recordings and then kind of going through the motions with them and figuring out like what we can fix. Those sessions could have been much quicker or a whole lot more targeted if I could go into it with a couple of points to focus on.
Yeah, that makes sense. So really getting the most out of the time that you do have.
Yeah, like don't not coach your reps. Keep those 4 to 6 hours every month.
Last thing I'll say, I know we're over time here, but the ability to self-coach, self in quotes because the AI is helping you, but self-coach and self-assess as an SDR is also way better when you have an AI tool that can even, and I don't know if this exists now, but I'm sure at some point it will, something that like alerts you proactively, says, hey, you're using this phrase a lot and it never gets good responses from the person on the other end of the line. Stop using it. Like proactive stuff like that would be really interesting. And you don't need your manager to tell you that if you've got an AI tool that can just let you know quickly, change up your messaging and move forward.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think self-coaching is huge, and it helps reps come to the table with solutions rather than problems. And it just helps everyone kind of focus their efforts.
All right, AJ, 15 seconds. Tell everybody about Opt-in.
Opt-in, quick 5-ish minute videos, actionable sales development tips, minimal fluff. You can find us on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on our Instagram, and on the website, demanddrive.com.
In other countries, do they call it Dragon Ball Z?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.